And then about that, we're just going to wrap up real quickly. He's going to talk about Novogene, and we can take any questions you guys might have. So yeah, I'm just going to touch on a little bit about Novogene, kind of where we've been and where we are now. So as the story goes, Novogene actually started out as a bioinformatics provider. And so what had happened was other researchers would send NGS data to Novogene to analyze the data. But over time, what they found was that the quality of the data kept coming out very poor. And so this was problematic for downstream analysis, and it wasn't useful for researchers. And so the push since then has been able to develop end-to-end sequencing solutions with an emphasis on high quality data. And so that's kind of how we've gone from having one core product, that bioinformatics service, to expanding service lines and moving from genomics into studying the cell at different levels, at transcriptomics, epigenetics, and proteomics. And so it's kind of been this evolution since the beginning in 2011. And so Novogene has a global presence. We serve over 70 countries across the world, 5 labs, 18 subsidiaries all across the world. So we are here with the United States division of Novogene, but really Novogene is a global provider for NGS services. So as I mentioned, we work with many different institutions and organizations. So research institutes, hospitals, biopharma companies, all work with Novogene for their sequencing needs. And so this has kind of given us the ability to gain experience with a diverse set of needs among clients. Okay, and then just briefly touching on some of our technological platforms and capabilities here at Novogene. So as I mentioned, we work with research institutes, hospitals, biopharma companies. And so the services that we provide for each kind of sector differ. So we've kind of been focusing on research services today with microbial sequencing, but for things like clinical settings, we have clinical whole exome sequencing services. And for biopharma companies, help with things like companion diagnostics, translational and clinical work, things like that. And so these are our platforms. I'm going to focus on the top row here. And so we kind of been mentioning these throughout the presentation, but we use the NovaSeq 6000 as our Illumina-based platform for short read sequencing. And we also have PacBio Sequel 2 and the Sequel 2E, as well as the Nanopore to accommodate long read sequencing. And so part of our role here would be to help advise on which one of these platforms might be most appropriate for your research goal, or which combination of platforms. And so Falcon is, this is a technology that's unique to Novogene. It's actually very interesting. So Falcon is a fully automated intelligent delivery platform. And so this is running at our lab in China. And in addition to being fully automated, providing end-to-end gene sequencing, executing a lot of the processes involved in that, in sequencing. So it can run 24/7, and this increases productivity and also reduces labor costs. But the other thing it does is actually reduces the amount of bias that would be introduced to data anytime that humans are handling the equipment or tools. And so, as I mentioned earlier, from how the Novogene started, the push has always been for improving data quality, and very much stays that way today. And this is just to let you know that our labs are standardized, and so they meet all of the requirements that are kind of set out for these types of facilities. And so we've been able to obtain the various certifications to demonstrate our capability to execute scientific experiments safely and properly. And so with that, I want to thank you all very much for your time. I hope this presentation was useful for you today. And I hope you consider using Novogene for your next sequencing project. Thank you.